Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. EM 630. WMAL.
7:07 on the Morning Majority. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, Sherry Jacobus in for Mary Catherine Ham, and on the line, our good friend, our legal expert, a man of many talents and a man we've widely admired. Joe DiGenova is on the line. How are you, Joe?
Much better after that introduction.
Well, I need to walk something back, and it has to do with the first question I want to ask you about, and that is that I was railing this morning about the fact that they were building a two-story structure in McPherson Square and talking about how it was right within sight of the White House. I had a senior moment or a brain fart or something. I was confusing LaFont Plaza with Lafayette Plaza. No,
Lafayette Park.
Lafayette Park across the street. So my apologies for getting that straight.
I don't know if I have that all straight.
What is that? I still don't have it right.
I'm more confused.
What is it?
Yeah.
No, I'll have to look.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, I got it wrong. You know what? And whose fault is this really, beside being mine? Pierre LaFont. He put too many damn squares in this town.
Yeah, there are a lot of
is
squares, yeah.
A lot of squares, and they all got different names, so I apologize for that incorrect information. Having cleared that up, now, are you surprised that it took this long for them to take action against the occupieds in McPherson Square?
Actually, I was not surprised, and the reason is this. It is quite obvious that the Metropolitan Police Department, under the leadership of Kathy Lanier and the White House, has made a decision that they're not going to confront these people, that they are going to allow them to mess up a beautiful park that $400,000 was spent on last year to clean up. But the building of the two-story structure was something that they couldn't tolerate because that's dangerous. It has all kinds of problems associated with it. I would love to see the Tea Party people try to do this and not have to post a $500,000 bond. I think ultimately this is all going to get out of hand. It already has in the rest of the country. Lots of lefty liberal mayors have tried to tolerate this stuff. Bloomberg started it all with his idiotic comments about how they had to tolerate all of this until it began to degrade the entire neighborhood. I'm not surprised. The police and the White House have tried to make peace with these people to avoid confrontation. Perhaps that's an acceptable strategy in the short term, but in the long term, it would be really nice to have McPherson Square back. It's a beautiful park, and right now it's a very ugly, dirty, nasty, smelly place.
Whoever's in charge of handing out the permits, can they say, look, we said you could stay here for a couple of months, but after the incident over the weekend, you're done. Leave.
Restrictions on time and place are perfectly appropriate. They're constitutional. We've discussed this before. The Supreme Court has ruled in the Community for Creative Nonviolent case that sleeping in a park is not speech. You have no right to sleep in a park. You have no right to live in a park. You have no right to have a tent in a park unless the officials allow you to do it. And that is exactly what has happened in D.C. And that, we work downtown. This is a nauseating display. It's outrageous. And it ruins a magnificent park. As I said, almost $500,000 was spent last year. And by the way, I've never seen anything written that said these people had to post a bond for using this space.
No.
Hey, Joe, what about safety concern? I mean, if they're not concerned about the proximity to the White House and the structure being built and these people being there, what about just as a security and safety measure for people like you going to work downtown, people trying to just go about their day? Do you think that law enforcement has sort of just blown that off?
Absolutely. They don't care about the rest of the public. The city has decided it wants to love these demonstrators, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having the demonstrators, but you can't walk through that park. People who used to very calmly and peacefully and have a nice start to their day or at lunchtime walk through the park, there's no place to sit anymore. There are no benches available for people who used to have lunch in that park. I mean, this really is outrageous. This is this goofy city government can't fix a pothole. By the way, I'm driving downtown the other day, and I see all these brand-new lanes with all these beautiful pictures of bicyclists painted on it. And I said, this is amazing. They can paint pictures of bicycles in 5 minutes and cannot fill a pothole for a year.
Yeah, I know. That don't get me started on the bikes. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you.
Well, I ride a bike. I'm all for it, but I'm just saying, if they can put a bike lane down with paint? Why can't they fill a pothole?
I got to ask you about the Friday afternoon 5:30 p.m. document dump by our good friends over at the Justice Department regarding Fast and Furious, and the official withdrawal of a letter that they sent to Charles Grassley where they said, well, I know we sent this to you and we said that there was no connection. We'd done everything possible to try to track these weapons, but we now want to withdraw that document because it contains inaccuracies. How significant is that?
Well, I think it's very significant. I think what's going on here, and the soft underbelly of this story is now starting to come out. The problem with Fast and Furious was the Phoenix U.S. Attorney's Office in Phoenix, Arizona. That office, by the way, I've had dealings with the Phoenix U.S. Attorney's Office over the years. Victoria and I were hired by Sheriff Joe Arpaio to serve as special prosecutors out there to investigate corruption on the county commissioners. The U.S. Attorney's Office out there is so incompetent that they couldn't even get themselves to set up a grand jury to investigate rampant corruption in the county commissioner's office in Phoenix. That place, and apparently they're the ones who did in fact send false information to the Justice Department, inaccurate information about what had transpired and how long it had been going on. I really want to see the former U.S. attorney who was removed from office, a guy named Burke, under oath in Congress. I think we're going to find out very quickly that what happened was you had an out-of-control U.S. attorney's office in Phoenix, and apparently they transmitted totally inaccurate information to the Justice Department. I think the withdrawal of that letter is an absolutely remarkable incident, and it does show that the department has realized that this is a very serious problem that needs some attention. That was an amazing thing the other day.
Well, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so we have Eric Holder heading up to the Hill to testify, I guess, on Thursday. So what kind of a reception do you think he'll get? Not just from the Republicans, but how do you think the Democrats are going to be feeling towards him now?
Well, the Democrats have all done a rope-a-dope on this. The Democrats are really phenomenal. They always, when they're chairman of committees like Henry Waxman and company, they love to berate people. But when they're in the minority and it's the Democratic presidential organization, they always become lapdogs for the administration. I think the Democrats are going to do everything they can to defend the Attorney General, which is fine. I mean, you just have to accept it for what it is. But there are legitimate questions here that have to be answered, and I expect Eric will answer them. Eric's a very smart guy. He's a very honest guy. He's a man of absolute integrity. I've known Eric for years. I cannot believe that he and Lanny Brewer, who heads the criminal division, were not lied to by these people in Phoenix. I think we.
But aren't you ultimately responsible for the things that happen in your own department? And what about the calls for him to step down? Is that out of line?
The answer is yes. He is responsible. He has to be under our form of government, and it's going to be up to him and the president to decide whether or not he can continue to serve. That's really a decision for the president to make. But you're absolutely right, Brian. The Attorney General is directly responsible, ultimately, for everything that happens on his watch, and he does bear constitutional, legal, and political accountability, and they're going to have to figure out how to answer the questions in order to make the case that he should stay.
All right, Joe. Enjoy jury duty today.
Oh, yeah, I'm sitting out in front of Montgomery Courthouse now watching all. Remember, they never raise their voices. They only raise your taxes.
That's right. Good old Montgomery County.
All right.
All right, I'll give you a full report from the jury room.
All right, thanks.
I want to hear it. All right, Joe DiGenova.